True success is achieved when your mind and actions align. Begin with your mind, and the actions will follow. Success isn't about luck. It's about programming your mind for it. If you believe in it, you'll achieve it. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. Feed it with success, and it will build the life you desire. Have you ever felt stuck? Maybe you've tried working hard, but it feels like you're not making any progress. Or maybe you know you're capable of more, but something inside is holding you back. Imagine if you could change the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you make decisions. What if you could reprogram your mind to automatically think in a way that supports your goals and your success? How much could that shift help you get closer to what you truly want? In this video, I'm going to show you 10 powerful ways you can brainwash yourself for success. These aren't just ideas. They are practical, actionable steps that anyone can start using today. You'll learn how to focus your mind on the right things, eliminate doubt and negativity, and set yourself up for success every single day. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how you can use your own mind to create the success you've been wanting. Ready to take control of your future? Let's dive in. Number 1, choose your influences wisely. Consider your mind as a garden, and whatever you plant in it will grow. If you plant negativity, doubt, and excuses, that's what you'll get more of. But if you plant discipline, ambition, and belief, then success starts to take root. And do you know what determines what gets planted in your mind? Your influences. The people you listen to, the conversations you have, the books you read, the videos you watch. All of it is shaping you whether you realize it or not. That's why, if you want to brainwash yourself for success, the very first thing you have to do is take control of what's influencing you. Let's be honest here. Some of you have dreams, big dreams, but you're still surrounding yourself with people who doubt you. You're still spending your time with those who complain about life instead of working to change it. You're still letting fear-filled negative voices dictate how you see the world, and then you wonder why you feel stuck. I'll tell you why. It's because you are being programmed every single day, either for success or for failure. There is no middle ground. Every conversation you have, every show you watch, every song you listen to, every post you scroll through, it's all either reinforcing a mindset of growth and possibility or a mindset of limitation and excuses. So the question is, who are you letting program your mind? Think about it. If you spend all your time around people who think small, you'll start thinking small. If you're constantly listening to those who blame the world for their problems, you'll start doing the same. But if you surround yourself with winners, people who are disciplined, people who take action, people who refuse to settle, you'll start to absorb that mindset instead. That's how influence works. It's not just about what people say to you. It's about what they make you believe is possible. I remember a time in my life when I wasn't thinking big enough. I was working hard, but my circle wasn't challenging me to do more. Then I met a man who had built the kind of life I wanted. He wasn't just successful. He had discipline, vision, and control over his future. And just being around him changed how I thought. Suddenly, I realized I had been playing small. Suddenly, I saw that I wasn't limited. I was just listening to the wrong people. So let me ask you, who are you listening to? Because that answer might explain exactly why your life looks the way it does. If you want to rewire your brain for success, you must take control of your influences. That means looking at the people in your life and asking yourself, are they pushing me forward or are they keeping me stuck? It means looking at your daily habits and asking, am I feeding my mind with knowledge and inspiration, or am I just wasting time? And don't get me wrong, this isn't about cutting people off just because they don't have the same goals as you. It's about being mindful of how much access you give them. You can love your friends and family, but if they're constantly filling your head with fear, doubt, and negativity, you need to set boundaries. You need to protect your energy like your future depends on it. Because it does. And it's not just about people. What are you consuming daily? Are you watching content that makes you better? Or are you just being entertained? Are you reading books that stretch your mind? Or are you letting distractions take over? Because every single thing you take in is shaping you. I'll tell you something. Successful people are obsessed with guarding their minds. They don't let just anything in. They don't spend hours scrolling through nonsense. They don't waste time on conversations that drain them. They choose their influences with purpose. And that's what you need to do. You need to become intentional about the voices you let into your life. You need to surround yourself with people who inspire you, not those who hold you back. You need to listen to people who make you think bigger, work harder, and expect more from yourself. And if you don't have those people around you yet, then find them. Read their books, watch their videos, absorb their mindset. Because the more you surround yourself with winners, the more you start thinking like one. And let me tell you something else. You don't have to be in the same room as these people to be influenced by them. Some of my greatest mentors were people I never met. I read their books. I listened to their words. I studied how they thought. And before I knew it, I started thinking differently. I started expecting more from myself. And everything in my life changed because of that. That's the power of influence. So I challenge you today. Take a hard look at your influences. Take a hard look at the people, the content, the conversations that are shaping your mindset. And if they're not leading you towards success, make a change. Because if you don't control your influences, someone else will. And you don't want to leave your future in someone else's hands. You have a choice. Every single day, you are either programming yourself for greatness or letting the world program you for mediocrity. Which one will it be? This is just the first step, but it's the foundation. Get this right, and every other step becomes easier. Now let's move forward. Number 2, develop a morning routine for success. Success isn't about luck. It's about structure. It's about doing the right things over and over again until they become second nature. That's why if you really want to brainwash yourself for success, you have to start with the way you begin your day. Mornings set the tone for everything. Ever notice how, if you wake up late, rushing around, feeling scattered, your whole day feels off? You're playing catch up before you've even started. But when you wake up with purpose, with a plan, and you take control of your morning, something shifts. Suddenly, you're not reacting to life. You're directing it. Let me tell you something. The most successful people in the world don't wake up and just let the day happen to them. They design their mornings. They start their day with intention. And that's exactly what you need to do. You don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. That's not what this is about. It's about what you do when you wake up. Because the first things you do in the morning are programming your mind for the rest of the day. If the first thing you do is scroll through social media, checking what other people are doing, you're training your brain to react instead of act. If you start your day with complaints or stress, that mindset follows you. But if you start with purpose, if you take those first moments to set your mind right, you're building momentum. Now let's get practical. What should a strong morning routine actually look like? Well, I can't tell you exactly what works for you, but I can tell you what works. First, you need time for yourself before the world gets to you. That means you don't just wake up and jump straight into work, straight into emails, straight into problems. No, you take control first. You decide what your mind focuses on before anything else. For some, that means getting up and moving, going for a walk, stretching, getting the blood flowing. For others, it means sitting in quiet, thinking about the day ahead, setting their intention. Maybe it's reading something inspiring, listening to something that fuels the mind. But here's the key. You need something that centers you, something that reminds you who you are and what you're working toward. One of the best habits you can build into your morning is writing down your goals, not just thinking about them, writing them down. Every single day, you might think, Jim, I already know my goals. Why write them down? Because when you write something down, it becomes real. It forces you to focus. It tells your brain, this is important. And when you do it every day, those goals stop being just ideas. They become instructions. But it's not just about goals. You also need to take control of your thoughts. See, most people wake up and their first thoughts are worries. What do I have to do today? What if this goes wrong? What if I can't handle it? And if that's where your mind starts, guess what? That's the energy you carry into your day. Instead, you need to train your brain to focus on what's possible, on what's within your control, on what you're grateful for. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools you have. It shifts your focus. It reminds you that no matter where you are, no matter what you're dealing with, there's always something to appreciate. And when you start your day with gratitude, your entire outlook changes. You go from seeing problems to seeing opportunities. You stop complaining and start creating. Now let's talk about discipline. A strong morning routine isn't just about feeling good. It's about building mental toughness. Every time you stick to your routine, even when you don't feel like it, you're training yourself to follow through. You're proving to yourself that you're in control, not your moods, not your excuses. That's powerful. And listen, your routine doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. A few key things done every single morning with intention can change everything. Think about this. If you take control of the first hour of your day, every day for a year, do you think your life will look the same? Of course not. Because those small actions add up. They shape who you become. If you're listening to this and thinking, Jim, I don't have time for a morning routine, then I'll tell you this. You don't have time not to. Because if you don't take control of your time, someone else will. If you don't set the tone for your day, life will set it for you, and you might not like where it takes you. So starting tomorrow, before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you dive into work, take a moment. Decide how you want to start your day. Choose to be intentional. Choose to set yourself up for success. Because once you master your mornings, you start to master your life. Number 3, write down your goals every day. Share one of the most powerful things you can do to take control of your life is write down your goals every day. And I don't mean once in a while, not just when you feel motivated. I mean every single day. Because the truth is, success isn't about wishing, hoping, or even just working hard. It's about clarity and focus. It's about programming your mind to lock on to what you want so that every decision, every action, and every opportunity moves you closer to it. Most people don't have goals, they have wishes. They say, I want to be successful. I want to be rich. I want to be happy. But if you ask them for details, they can't give you any. They don't know exactly what success looks like. They don't know how much money they need. They don't know what kind of life they're actually working toward. And if you don't know where you're going, how do you expect to get there? Writing down your goals every day forces you to be clear. It forces you to define what you really want. And that's the first step to achieving anything. Clarity. When you write it down, you're telling your mind, this is important. This is what I need to focus on. And when you do it daily, you're reinforcing that message over and over again until your brain has no choice but to believe it. I'll tell you something interesting. Your mind is always looking for patterns, always looking for what's familiar. That's why, if you keep telling yourself the same thing every day, your brain starts working to make it true. If you keep writing down, I am building a successful business. I am becoming financially independent. I am in the best shape of my life. Your brain starts searching for ways to make those statements real. It starts filtering out distractions. It starts spotting opportunities that you would have overlooked before. It starts reprogramming itself to align with your goals. That's how powerful this is. It's not just about motivation. It's about rewiring your brain to expect success. And when you expect success, your actions start to change. You start making decisions that match your goals, instead of working against them. Think about it. If your goal is to build a business, but you never write it down, never remind yourself of it, you'll get distracted. You'll waste time. You'll tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But if you write it down every day, you're constantly bringing that goal to the front of your mind. And when it's front and center, it's much harder to ignore. Let me tell you something else. Writing down your goals daily isn't just about clarity. It's also about commitment. Anybody can set a goal once. Anybody can get excited for a day or a week. But the real test is who can stay focused when the excitement wears off, when distractions come in, when challenges show up. Writing your goals down every day is a way of proving to yourself that you're serious. It's a way of saying, no matter what happens, no matter how I feel, this is what I'm working toward. I remember a time in my life when I wasn't writing my goals down. I had ambitions, I had ideas, but they weren't organized, and I wasn't focused. Then someone told me, Jim, if you don't have a clear destination, you'll wander forever. So I started writing my goals every day, and something shifted. Suddenly, I wasn't just thinking about what I wanted. I was reminding myself of it constantly. I was reinforcing it in my mind until it became part of who I was. And that's exactly what will happen to you. If you start doing this every day, your goals will go from being something you want, something you expect. And expectation changes everything. Because when you expect something, you don't just wish for it. You start working like it's already yours. Now let me be clear. Writing down your goals won't magically make them happen. You still have to do the work. But what it will do is keep you focused, keep you disciplined, and keep you moving in the right direction, even when things get tough. So let me challenge you. Starting today, take 5 minutes every morning to write down your goals. Not on your phone, not just in your head. Write them down on paper. Feel the words as you write them. Let them sink in, and do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Because the more you reinforce your goals, the more real they become. Most people drift through life without a clear target. Don't be one of them. Take control of your mind. Take control of your focus, and watch how fast your life starts to change. Number 4, act as if you are already successful. One of the biggest shifts you can make in your life is to start acting like the person you want to become. Right now. Not next year. Not when you feel ready. Not when you've achieved a certain level of success. You start now, because the truth is, if you wait until you arrive before you act the part, you'll never get there. Success isn't something that happens to you. It's something you prepare for. Something you step into before the world even sees it. Most people live their lives waiting. They say, once I'm successful, I'll start carrying myself with confidence. Once I have money, I'll be disciplined with it. Once I'm respected, I'll start taking myself seriously. But that's backward. You don't get confidence, discipline, and respect after success. You get those things before success. And that's what makes success happen. Think about it. If you want to be a leader, but you don't carry yourself like one, how will people see you that way? If you want to be wealthy, but you treat money carelessly, how will you ever build real wealth? If you want to be in shape, but you live like someone who doesn't prioritize health, how will you ever get there? You have to act as if you are already that person. You have to start thinking like them, making decisions like them, moving through life like them. Now let me be clear, this doesn't mean pretending. This isn't about faking it or putting on a show for other people. This is about conditioning yourself to step into the role you were meant for. It's about adopting the habits, mindset, and standards of the person you're becoming. When you do this, something powerful happens. You start to feel different. You start to believe in yourself more. And when you believe in yourself, the way you operate changes. I'll tell you something personal. When I started my journey, I wasn't a successful businessman. I wasn't a respected speaker. I was just a guy trying to figure things out. But I made a decision. I decided that even before the world saw me as successful, I was going to carry myself like someone who was going places. I was going to speak with confidence. I was going to dress like someone who took themselves seriously. I was going to act with discipline, even when no one was watching. And do you know what happened? People started treating me differently. Opportunities started showing up. Not because I was lucky, but because I had prepared myself for them. If I had waited for success before I started acting successful, I would have stayed stuck. Instead, I made success inevitable by aligning my actions with my vision. This applies to every area of life. If you want to be successful in business, you start carrying yourself like a professional. Now, you start handling your time, your work, and your relationships like someone who takes their future seriously. If you want to improve your health, you don't wait until you feel motivated. You start eating, moving, and thinking like a healthy person today. If you want better relationships, you don't wait for people to treat you better. You start showing up as the kind of person who attracts great relationships. And here's the key. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right every time. But you have to be consistent. Because every time you act in alignment with your future self, you're reinforcing that identity. You're training your mind to believe, this is who I am now. And once you truly believe that, your actions will follow. People often ask me, Jim, what if I don't feel confident? What if I don't believe I'm successful yet? And I tell them, confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. Confidence comes from doing. It comes from seeing yourself follow through, from proving to yourself that you are who you say you are. You don't wait until you feel like a winner. You start acting like one, and then you'll feel it. This isn't about arrogance. This isn't about pretending to be something you're not. This is about closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's about making decisions that reflect your highest potential instead of your current limitations. It's about choosing to step into your future now, instead of waiting for permission, waiting for the right time, waiting for someone else to validate you. The question is, are you willing to start today? Are you willing to walk, talk, think, and operate like the person you want to become? Because if you do that, if you commit to this, if you make it a habit, you won't just become successful someday. You'll start seeing the results of success show up in your life right now. Number 5. Practice gratitude to attract abundance. One of the most powerful things you can do to change your life is to practice gratitude. And I don't mean just thinking about what you're grateful for once in a while. I mean making it a daily habit, something you do with intention, something that becomes part of who you are. Because when you focus on gratitude, something amazing happens. Your entire perspective shifts. You start seeing opportunities instead of obstacles. You start feeling capable instead of limited. And most importantly, you start attracting more good things into your life. Most people don't realize this, but your mind is like a magnet. Whatever you focus on, you bring more of into your life. If you focus on problems, you'll see more problems. If you focus on what's missing, you'll feel like you never have enough. But if you focus on what you have, If you start appreciating what's already good in your life, you create a powerful shift. You start training your mind to see abundance instead of lack. And when you see abundance, you operate differently. You make better decisions. You feel more confident. You approach challenges with a different energy. I've met a lot of people over the years, people who had nothing and built incredible success, and people who had everything but still felt empty. And do you know what separates them? It's not money. It's not intelligence. It's their mindset. The ones who succeed long-term, the ones who build real wealth. Not just financial wealth, but wealth in their relationships, their happiness, their purpose. Those are the ones who practice gratitude. Because gratitude keeps you grounded. It keeps you focused on what matters. It reminds you that no matter what's happening, no matter how difficult things get, there is always something to be thankful for. Some people say, Jim, I don't have much to be grateful for right now. My life isn't where I want it to be. And I always tell them, that's exactly why you need to start practicing gratitude. Because if you wait until everything is perfect before you appreciate what you have, you'll never feel satisfied. Gratitude isn't about waiting until things are great. It's about training yourself to see the good, even when things aren't perfect. And the more you do that, the more good things you'll start attracting. I'll tell you something personal. There was a time when I was struggling. I was trying to figure things out. And honestly, there were moments when I felt frustrated, moments when I doubted whether I'd ever make it. But then I learned something that changed everything. I learned that no matter how tough things were, I could always find something to appreciate, even if it was something small. Even if it was just the fact that I had another day to work on my dreams. And the more I focused on what I had, instead of what I lacked, the more things started shifting. I started feeling better. I started seeing opportunities where, before I had only seen obstacles. And slowly but surely, my life started to change. Gratitude isn't just a nice idea. It's a strategy. It's a tool you can use to reprogram your mind for success. And the best part? It's simple. You don't need any special skills. You don't need money. You don't need to wait. You can start right now. Every morning before you do anything else, take a moment to think about 3 things you're grateful for. And don't just think about them, feel them. Let yourself really appreciate them. Let that feeling sink in. And do the same thing before you go to bed at night. If you make this a habit, I promise you, you will start to see change. Because here's what happens. When you start your day with gratitude, you set the tone for everything else. You go into your day with a different mindset. You're more positive. You're more focused. And when challenges come up, and they will, you handle them better. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? You start asking, what can I learn from this? Instead of feeling defeated, you start looking for solutions. Instead of giving up, you keep going. Some people might say, Jim, that sounds too simple. Can something as small as gratitude really make that much of a difference? And I tell them, yes, absolutely. Because success isn't just about strategy. It's not just about working hard. It's about how you think. It's about the energy you bring to your life every day. And gratitude is one of the easiest ways to shift that energy. Now let's talk about something important. Gratitude isn't about ignoring reality. It's not about pretending everything is perfect when it's not. It's about choosing where to put your focus. It's about deciding that no matter what's happening, you will find something good. You will find something to appreciate. Because when you do that, you put yourself in a position of power. You stop being a victim of circumstances. You take control of your mindset. And when you control your mindset, you control your future. So let me challenge you. Starting today, commit to practicing gratitude every single day. Write it down if you need to. Say it out loud. Whatever works for you. But do it. Because the more you focus on what you have, the more you will attract. And when you make gratitude a habit, you will start seeing success. Not someday, not in the future, but right now. Number 6, stay committed to continuous growth. The ones who succeed never stop growing. They don't settle. They don't get comfortable. They don't say, "I've learned enough." No, they keep pushing. They keep stretching. They keep finding ways to improve. Because here's the truth. If you're not growing, you're falling behind. There's no standing still in life. You're either getting better or you're getting left behind. A lot of people have the wrong idea about success. They think it's something you achieve, like once you reach a certain point, you're done. You made it. You can relax. But that's not how it works. Success isn't a destination. It's a process. It's something you work on every single day. The moment you stop growing, the moment you stop learning, that's the moment you start to decline. Think about it. How many people do you know who were doing great at one point, and then suddenly they weren't? Maybe they got a little too comfortable. Maybe they thought they had it all figured out, and before they knew it, they were struggling, trying to figure out what went wrong. That's what happens when you stop growing. That's what happens when you stop challenging yourself. Now let's talk about what it really means to commit to continuous growth. It means you make learning a priority. It means you invest in yourself. You don't wait for someone to teach you. You go out and find the knowledge. You read books. You listen to people who have done what you want to do. You take courses. You do whatever it takes to keep getting better. It also means you push yourself out of your comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you challenge yourself. When you take on new responsibilities. When you do things that make you a little nervous. When you take risks, even when you're not sure how things will turn out. That's how you grow. That's how you get stronger. That's how you become the kind of person who can handle real success. And let's talk about failure, because that's a big part of growth. A lot of people are afraid of failing, so they avoid challenges. They avoid risks. They stay where it's safe. But here's what you have to understand. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every successful person you've ever admired has failed, probably more times than you can count. But they didn't let it stop them. They learned from it. They grew from it. And because of that, they became stronger. I'll tell you a personal story. When I started out in business, I made a lot of mistakes. I wasn't an expert. I didn't have everything figured out. There were times I lost money. There were times I felt like I was in over my head. But I made a decision. I was going to learn from every experience, good or bad. And because I kept learning, because I kept improving, things started to change. I got better. I got smarter. I started making better decisions. And eventually success came. Not because I was lucky, but because I never stopped growing. That's the mindset you need. You have to see every challenge as an opportunity to grow. Every mistake as a lesson. Every setback as a stepping stone. When you do that, nothing can stop you. Because no matter what happens, you're getting better. You're getting stronger. And the stronger you get, the more success you'll be able to handle. Now let's talk about your daily habits. If you want to commit to growth, you need to build habits that support that goal. What are you doing every day to get better? Are you reading? Are you listening to people who challenge your thinking? Are you surrounding yourself with people who push you to grow? Or are you wasting time? Are you stuck in the same old routines, doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts? You have to make a conscious choice to grow. Because if you don't, the world will pass you by. And I don't want that for you. I want you to succeed. I want you to reach your full potential. But that won't happen unless you make growth a priority. And here's something important. Growth isn't just about knowledge. It's also about your mindset. It's about how you think, how you handle challenges, how you respond to adversity. Are you the kind of person who gives up when things get hard? Or do you see difficulty as an opportunity to get stronger? That's what separates winners from everyone else. It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's the willingness to keep going, keep learning, keep growing, no matter what. So let me ask you, are you committed to growth? Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to push yourself, to challenge yourself, to never settle? Because if you are, success won't just be something you hope for. It'll be something you create. It'll be something you step into. One day at a time, one lesson at a time, one challenge at a time. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize you've become unstoppable. Number 7, reprogramming your subconscious mind. It's shaping the way you think, the way you act, and ultimately, the results you get in life. And that is your subconscious mind. Now, most people don't give much thought to what's happening in their subconscious. They think life is just happening to them, that they're reacting to whatever comes their way. But the truth is, your subconscious is running the show. It's determining how you see the world, how you handle challenges, and whether you believe success is possible for you. The problem is, most people have a subconscious mind that's been programmed with doubt, fear, and limitation. Maybe it came from how they were raised. Maybe it came from the people they spent time with. Maybe it came from past failures or disappointments. But whatever the case, if you don't take control of that programming, it will control you. It will keep you stuck. It will hold you back, no matter how badly you want to succeed. That's why reprogramming your subconscious mind is so important. Because once you do, once you replace those limiting beliefs with new, empowering ones, everything changes. Your confidence changes, your actions change, and ultimately, your results change. So how do you do it? How do you take control of the thoughts and beliefs buried deep inside your mind? The first step is awareness. You have to start paying attention to the thoughts that run through your mind on a daily basis. Most people don't do this. They go through life on autopilot, never questioning why they think the way they do. But if you want to reprogram your subconscious, you have to start noticing the patterns. Are you constantly doubting yourself? Are you expecting failure before you even start? Are you talking yourself out of opportunities because you don't believe you're good enough? These thoughts aren't just harmless little ideas floating around. They're shaping your reality. They're dictating the choices you make, the risks you take, and whether you push through challenges or give up. Once you start recognizing these negative thought patterns, the next step is to challenge them. Just because a thought pops into your mind doesn't mean it's true. If you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not smart enough to do this," stop and ask yourself, says who? Where did that idea come from? Is it based on actual truth? Or is it something you picked up along the way? The reality is, most of these limiting beliefs are just opinions. They're not facts. But if you accept them as facts, they become real in your life. So every time you catch a limiting belief creeping in, question it, push back against it. Replace it with something more empowering. Instead of saying, "I'm not smart enough," say, "I can learn anything if I'm willing to put in the effort." Instead of saying, "I'm not lucky," say, "I create my own opportunity." This isn't just about thinking positive. It's about taking control of your mind so it stops working against you and starts working for you. Another powerful way to reprogram your subconscious is through repetition. You have to feed your mind the right messages over and over again until they become automatic. This is why affirmations work. It's why successful people listen to motivational material every day. It's why they're constantly exposing themselves to ideas that challenge and expand their thinking. Because whatever you repeat, often enough, becomes part of your subconscious programming. So what are you feeding your mind on a daily basis? Are you surrounding yourself with messages of success, growth, and possibility? Or are you constantly consuming negativity, doubt, and fear? If you want to change your subconscious programming, you have to be intentional about what you expose yourself to. Another key part of reprogramming your mind is visualization. The brain doesn't know the difference between something you vividly imagine and something that's actually happening. That means when you visualize success, when you picture yourself achieving your goals, overcoming challenges, becoming the person you want to be, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're strengthening the neural pathways that support confidence, action, and achievement. The best part, it doesn't take hours. Just a few minutes every day. Closing your eyes and seeing yourself winning can have a profound effect on your subconscious. And here's the most important part. You have to take action. You can't just think differently. You have to back it up with action. If you tell yourself you're confident, but you never step outside your comfort zone, your subconscious won't believe you. But if you tell yourself you're confident, and then take an action that requires confidence, now your mind has proof. Now your subconscious starts to accept it as reality. This is how you reprogram your mind for success. You become aware of the negative beliefs holding you back. You challenge them. You replace them with empowering beliefs. You expose yourself to success-oriented messages. You visualize the future you want. And then, most importantly, you take action in alignment with those new beliefs. It won't happen overnight. But if you stay committed, if you do the work, every single day, your subconscious will start working in your favor, instead of against you. And when that happens, success becomes inevitable. Number 8. Taking responsibility for your actions. One of the most important lessons in life is understanding that you are responsible for everything that happens to you. Not the government, not your parents, not your friends, not the economy. That's a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. Because it's much easier to point fingers. It's easier to blame circumstances, to blame other people, to say, I would be successful if only this or that didn't happen. But as long as you believe that, you give away all your power. You're stuck waiting for something or someone to change before you can make progress. And that's a dangerous place to be. If you want to change your life, if you want to brainwash yourself for success, the first thing you have to do is take full responsibility for everything. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That means no more blaming, no more excuses, no more waiting for the right time. It means looking at your life and saying, if I don't like where I am, it's up to me to change it. And let me tell you something. When you do that, when you take ownership of your life, you become unstoppable. Because now, instead of focusing on what's outside of your control, you put all your energy into what you can control. And that's where real change happens. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up over past mistakes. It doesn't mean feeling guilty or ashamed. It means recognizing that every decision you've made has led you to where you are right now. And that's a good thing. Because if your past decisions created this reality, that means your future decisions can create a better one. The problem is, most people don't want to hear that. They don't want to believe that their choices, their habits, their mindset is what's keeping them stuck. It's easier to say, I'm broke because of the economy, instead of saying, I'm broke because I haven't taken the time to learn how to manage and grow my money. It's easier to say, I'm out of shape because of my genetics, instead of saying, I'm out of shape because I haven't made my health a priority. But here's the truth. You can't change what you don't take responsibility for. You see, successful people don't waste time complaining about what they can't control. They don't sit around blaming the government or their boss or their upbringing. They focus on what they can do. If they don't have the skills they need, they learn them. If they're in a bad situation, they take steps to get out of it. If they fail, they own it, learn from it, and move forward. That's the mindset that separates winners from everyone else. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's taking responsibility every single day for the life you want to create. Now, here's something you have to understand. When you start taking full responsibility, it's not always going to feel good. In fact, at first, it might be uncomfortable. Because when you stop blaming other people, when you stop making excuses, you have to face some hard truths about yourself. You have to admit that maybe you haven't been as disciplined as you should be. Maybe you've been letting fear control your actions. Maybe you've been talking about what you want, but not actually putting in the work to get it. And that can be tough, but you know what's tougher? Living a life you're not happy with because you refuse to take control of it. So how do you start? How do you take full responsibility and use it to rewire your mind for success? You start by looking at every area of your life and asking one simple question. What can I do to make this better? Not who's to blame. Not why is this happening to me? Just what can I do? If your finances aren't where you want them to be, what can you do today to start improving them? If your health isn't where you want it to be, what can you do today to start making better choices? If your relationships aren't where you want them to be, what actions can you take to improve them? That's how you take your power back. And let me tell you something, you're going to have moments where it feels unfair. You're going to have moments where you think, but this wasn't my fault. And you know what? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe something happened to you that wasn't fair. Maybe you've been dealt a tougher hand than others. But life isn't fair, and dwelling on that won't change anything. What will change things is deciding that no matter what has happened, no matter what obstacles you face, you're going to find a way to win. That's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Not circumstances, not luck, mindset. Now, let's talk about the power that comes with responsibility. When you fully embrace this mindset, something incredible happens. You stop feeling like a victim. You stop feeling powerless. You stop feeling like life is just happening to you. And instead, you start shaping life the way you want it to be. You start making decisions with purpose. You stop waiting for motivation and start taking action whether you feel like it or not. And that's when things start to change. You build momentum. You see progress. You develop confidence. Not because someone handed it to you, but because you earned it. Think about this for a moment. Every single person you admire, every single successful person you see, got there by taking full responsibility for their life. They didn't sit around waiting for a handout. They didn't wait for someone to come and save them. They decided, this is my life, and I'm going to make it what I want it to be. And you can do the same. Right now, you have that same power. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made in the past. The only thing that matters is what you do from this moment forward. So let this be the moment where you stop making excuses. Let this be the moment where you take back control. No more blaming. No more waiting. No more playing small. This is your life, and it's up to you to make it great. Number 9. Creating a vision board to keep you focused. The idea of taking responsibility for your actions is one thing, but what happens when things don't go as planned? What happens when you fall short of the goals you've set for yourself? It's in those moments of failure that most people tend to shrink back, lose hope, and give up. And yet, failure is one of the most important components of success. It is a necessary part of the journey. And how you handle it will determine how far you go in life. Failure is something that everyone experiences. It's not something to be ashamed of or avoid. It's part of being human. But here's the key. Failure does not define you unless you let it. It's not the failure itself that matters. It's how you respond to it. You see, when you encounter failure, you have a choice. You can choose to let it knock you down and keep you there. Or you can choose to rise above it, learn from it, and keep going. The choice is yours. One of the most crucial things to understand is that failure is not permanent. It's a temporary setback. It's a lesson. It's an opportunity to grow. The key is not to be discouraged by failure, but to use it as fuel to keep moving forward. Every successful person has faced failure. Every single one of them has encountered obstacles, challenges, and setbacks. But what makes them different is their ability to keep moving forward. Despite those challenges, they don't give up. They don't throw in the towel. They understand that failure is part of the process, and they push through it. The first thing you need to do when you face failure is to accept it. Stop denying it. Stop pretending like it didn't happen. Stop making excuses or blaming others. Own up to it. Acknowledge that you failed and be okay with it. Failure doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. It's a sign that you're pushing yourself, that you're challenging yourself to do something you haven't done before. And that's what growth is all about. Once you've accepted it, the next step is to learn from it. There's a lesson in every failure. If you're willing to look for it, ask yourself, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? What did I learn that will make me better next time? Failure is only a failure if you don't learn anything from it. If you can take something valuable from the experience and apply it to your next attempt, then the failure has served its purpose. Most people are afraid of failure because they're afraid it will make them look bad. They're afraid of judgment, of what others will think. But here's the truth. Failure is not a reflection of who you are as a person. It's simply a reflection of the fact that you're trying, you're pushing yourself, you're taking risks. And that, my friend, is something to be proud of. The next thing you need to do is stay focused on your long-term goals. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned, but the key is to keep your eyes on the bigger picture. One failure doesn't define your entire journey. You might not reach your goal on the first try. You might not succeed on the second try. But each time you fail, you're learning, you're growing, and you're getting closer to where you want to be. Success is not a straight line. It's a winding road filled with bumps, detours, and dead ends. But if you keep moving forward, you will eventually reach your destination. Failure doesn't mean you're not capable. It just means you're not done yet. One of the most important lessons you can learn is to never give up. This is something that separates those who succeed from those who don't. The people who succeed are the ones who keep going when everyone else would quit. They're the ones who pick themselves up after a fall, dust themselves off, and keep moving forward. I know it's not always easy. I know it can be discouraging. There are moments when you feel like you're never going to make it. Moments when it seems like success is too far out of reach. But let me tell you, the people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who never stop trying. And that's what you have to do. You have to keep trying, even when it's hard, even when it feels impossible. Because eventually, that persistence pays off. When you encounter failure, it's important to remind yourself of why you started in the first place. What was your reason for setting that goal? What was your vision? Hold on to that. Failure might slow you down, but it shouldn't stop you. It's simply a temporary detour on the way to success. And remember, success is not just about achieving a goal. It's about who you become in the process. It's about the lessons you learn along the way. The setbacks, the failures, the challenges, they all build your character. They teach you resilience, determination, and perseverance. They show you what you're really made of. Every time you fail and keep going, you get stronger. You develop more grit. You learn how to overcome obstacles. And all of that makes you better equipped to handle the next challenge. So when failure comes knocking, and it will, remember that it's not the end. It's just a lesson, a stepping stone on your way to success. The key to handling failure is to not let it define you. It doesn't matter how many times you fall. It matters how many times you get back up. Every time you get back up, you're closer to your goal. Every time you keep going, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. So the next time you fail, don't let it discourage you. Don't let it make you doubt yourself. Instead, use it as an opportunity to learn, grow, and keep moving forward. Because as long as you keep moving, as long as you keep pushing, you will eventually reach your destination. Failure is not the end of the road. It's just part of the journey. And the journey, my friend, is where the magic happens. Number 10, how to handle failure and keep moving forward. When you're on the path to success, you need to realize that things aren't always going to go as planned. You'll face challenges, setbacks, and even some downright failures. But the one thing you have to remember is that how you handle those challenges will determine whether or not you keep moving forward. A lot of people struggle when things get tough because they don't know how to cope with failure or adversity. They see it as a reason to give up. But if you want to be successful, if you want to build the life you truly want, you have to understand how to deal with failure and keep going. The first thing to realize is that failure is a part of life. Everyone experiences it. No one has ever achieved success without first facing some form of failure. It's important to understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. You can't have success without failure, just as you can't have light without darkness. When you face a setback or a failure, don't see it as the end of your journey. See it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to come back stronger. One of the most important steps in handling failure is acceptance. You need to accept that failure happens and that it doesn't make you a failure. It's something that happens to everyone, but it doesn't have to define you. The truth is, failure is not something that happens to you. It's something you experience. It's not about you as a person, but about the situation you're in. You can separate the event from your identity, and that's crucial. You are not a failure because something didn't work out. It just means that particular thing didn't work out. You're still here, you're still breathing, and you're still capable of trying again. Now, I know that sometimes it feels like the world is crashing down on you when things go wrong. You might think, this is it. I've tried everything, and it hasn't worked. But listen to me, that's not the right way to think. You are never out of chances unless you decide you're out. As long as you have breath in your lungs, you have the ability to change the course of your life. But you've got to make that decision. You've got to decide that no matter what happens, you will keep going. It's not about how many times you fall down. It's about how many times you get up. And I know that can be tough sometimes. It's not always easy to pick yourself up when you're feeling discouraged, but you have to do it. You have to get back up and keep pushing forward, no matter how difficult it seems, because every time you get back up, you get a little bit stronger. Every time you face adversity and keep going, you develop a little bit more resilience. It's also important to stay focused on the bigger picture. When things aren't going right, it's easy to get bogged down in the details and lose sight of why you started in the first place. You have to remember that your goals, your dreams, and your vision are what matter. When you face setbacks, it's not about the setback, it's about the vision you have for yourself. It's about where you want to go and who you want to become. And no matter how many times you fail or how many obstacles you encounter, as long as you keep your eyes on the prize, you'll make it. Another important aspect of handling failure is to learn from it. There is a lesson in every failure, and if you're willing to look for it, you'll find it. When something doesn't work out, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What could I have done differently? Failure doesn't mean you're doing everything wrong. It just means you need to adjust your approach. If you're not learning from your mistakes, then you're missing out on the opportunity for growth. So embrace the lessons that failure has to offer. Use them to become better and stronger. But even as you learn from failure, you have to understand that failure does not define you. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that failure means they're not good enough. They think if I failed at this, then I'm not capable of success. But that's simply not true. Failure doesn't mean you're incapable. It means you're trying. It means you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. You're stretching yourself to achieve something great. And that's exactly what you need to do if you want to succeed. The truth is, you're not going to get everything right the first time, the second time, or even the third time. Success is not about perfection. It's about progress. You don't have to be perfect to succeed. You just have to keep going. Don't let a setback stop you. Don't let failure define your journey. Keep moving forward. As long as you keep trying, you're making progress. Another important thing to keep in mind is that failure is temporary. It might feel like the end of the world when things aren't going your way. But trust me, this moment will pass. This too shall pass. You won't feel like this forever. The key is to keep your focus on the future. Keep your mind on the bigger picture. Things might be tough right now, but that doesn't mean they will always be this way. Success takes time, and the journey is not always smooth, but you have to trust the process. As you continue on your journey, there are a few things you can do to make sure you don't get derailed by failure. First, stay patient. Success takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to be willing to put in the work, even when you're not seeing immediate results. The second thing you need to do is stay consistent. Even when things are tough, even when it feels like you're not making progress, you've got to keep going. You've got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Because the more you show up, the more progress you'll make. Finally, remember that you're not alone. Everyone faces failure. Everyone goes through tough times. But what separates the people who succeed from those who don't is their ability to keep going. No matter what, the people who succeed are the ones who don't give up. They understand that failure is part of the process, and they don't let it stop them. They keep pushing forward, no matter how hard it gets. So when failure comes knocking, don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it. Embrace it. Learn from it, and keep moving forward. Because success is on the other side of failure, and you have what it takes to get there. Failure doesn't have to be the end of your journey. It's just another step along the way. Keep going. You've got this.